Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here. In today's video, we're going to take a look at the NBA slate on Draftkings and Yahoo for Wednesday, August the 19th. Another 4-game slate today, same 4 games that we had on Monday. Going to be a lot to talk about because we'll obviously have, stuff to look at from how players performed in game 1 of these series. It's the same 4 games that we saw Monday, like I said. I think people are going to look at game logs a little bit more heavily and weight game logs a little bit more heavily than they normally would, which makes for, a good slate in my opinion, because people are probably going to play Donovan Mitchell because he just went off in the same spot. People might fade guys because they disappointed, but that gives us an edge in my opinion, maybe fading the guys that went off, maybe playing the guys that struggled. I'll be sure to break it all down, talk about how guys played in game 1, if we should be going back to them for these, game 2s, but before we do get started, guys, before we start looking at point guard, as always, I'd appreciate it if you would hit that like button down below. Make sure you do subscribe as well. If you are new here, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I am uploading NBA videos to this channel every single day, and I'm also getting up MLB videos just about every single day as well. We've been gaining a ton of subscribers ever since sports came back, ever since the NBA and the NFL, or the NBA and the MLB returned. Been getting a ton of subscribers. I can't thank you guys enough for all the support. If you are new here and you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Also, if you would like to get more content from me, I do have stuff available on Patreon. That is linked down below in the description. If you really enjoy these YouTube videos and if they really help you, you can get more content from me on Patreon. You can get access to my articles that I write Monday through Friday, my updated core plays. Our Discord chat is available for Patreon members. So if you want to check that out, it's linked down below in the description. Let's go ahead and take a look at this slate. We will start off at point guard. So at the top here, we got Luka Doncic at 11K, facing the Clippers, obviously. So in game 1, Luka played pretty well, especially in terms of fantasy. He was really good for fantasy. Had 65 DraftKings points, played 38 minutes. I think Luka did benefit, though, from Kristaps Porzingis getting ejected. Porzingis got ejected, early on in the third quarter. That obviously was a big boost for Luka's fantasy upside. When you take Porzingis off the floor, Luka does see a pretty big boost in his usage and in his fantasy, production overall. I'm pretty sure, after the first half, he wasn't having the best game. He really, turned it on in the second half. I didn't play much Luka, on Monday, and I don't think I'm going to be really going to him today. Not in 11K. Sure, Luka could go out there and score, 60, 65 DraftKings points. I just don't think I need to play him at this 11K price tag. It's still not the best matchup. The Clippers have Paul George, they have Kawhi Leonard, 2 guys that, can match up well against Luka, that can do their best to slow him down. I think there's other ways I'd rather go, kind of similar to Monday's slate. This mid-range I think is still very strong. We have a lot of options here that I like. So I don't see myself going to Luka. Donovan Mitchell got priced up. He's coming off a massive game where he put up 81 DraftKings points, had 57 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists. With the price coming up to $9,200, I think I'm probably going to be off of Donovan Mitchell. Mike Conley is still out, so, that is a boost for Mitchell. I just don't want to chase this game. I don't expect him to go out there and put up 80 DK points again. If he goes out there and puts up a ceiling game and drops 55 to 60, then I guess I'll just lose. But even at $9,200, if he gets 55, that's good. That's a really good score, but that's not a score you have to have. If you wanted to take down a tournament on Monday's slate, you had to have Mitchell. There was no way to take down a tournament Monday without Mitchell. I don't think I'm going to be playing him today at 9,200. I'll just let other people chase that score. If I was going to play him, it would probably be on Yahoo. If we look over there, you got Mitchell at 35. He's still cheaper than Paul George. I guess Mitchell's fine on Yahoo, but I think, some of these other guys like Fred VanVleet, I like a lot today. We'll talk about him. Even Jaylen Brown, now that Gordon Hayward's going to be out, I think Jaylen Brown gets a boost. So I'll probably be off Mitchell today. I like some of these mid-range options. I really like Fred VanVleet at 7,600. He's probably going to be popular today because he is coming off a big game. He put up 60 DraftKings points in 39 minutes, had 30 points, 2 rebounds, 11 assists, 1 block, 2 steals. He shot incredibly well from the field, shot 73% from 3, 73% from the field, 80% from 3. You obviously don't expect him to shoot that well every game, but this is a guy that does have big-time upside. He can get you a double-double with points and assists. He's going to have the ball in his hands a ton. They're going to stagger VanVleet and Lowry's minutes. One of those 2 guys is going to be on the floor at all times. And whenever, Lowry's off the floor and VanVleet's on, that's when he's going to be most productive. He'll be the primary point guard. He's going to play huge minutes. Even in a game where they won by 24 points, Fred VanVleet still played 39 minutes, was on pace to play 40-plus minutes. They pulled him, kind of early with like 3 minutes left, so, he was on pace to play like 42 minutes. I mean, if this game stays close, which is a big if, I think we get probably about 40 minutes from Fred VanVleet today. At 7,600, he's still a little bit cheaper than Lowry. I like Fred VanVleet a lot here at 7,600. I do like him on Yahoo as well. If we look at Yahoo's pricing, you got Fred VanVleet coming in at $30. He's $5 less than Mitchell, $6 less than George. Definitely like Fred VanVleet on Yahoo as well. Just a guy that I kind of always play in DFS. Gives you such a high floor. I don't know if he's going to put up a massive ceiling game like he did last time, but, you can get even a bad game from VanVleet. Like, he can still give you 35 to 40 in a bad game, and he's got, 45, 50-point upside. So I definitely like him at 7,600. Jamal Murray's coming off a huge game. He was really disappointing the first half, but completely turned it on in the second half and just started making every shot. Played 40 minutes in an overtime win, had 59 Draftkings points. I think people are definitely going to go to Jamal Murray today coming off the big game, and I don't mind him. I just think he's closely priced enough to VanVleet where I would prefer to go to VanVleet. I think VanVleet gives you a higher floor. Maybe you could argue that Murray has a bigger ceiling than VanVleet, but I mean, we saw even with Jamal Murray getting overtime, like VanVleet still outscored Jamal Murray on Monday. So that's just my thoughts there. I have no problems with Murray at 7,200. I just don't know if I want to go to him, with the price coming up, with him coming off a big game. I know VanVleet's price came up as well, but VanVleet's a guy we normally see priced around this price range. I mean, VanVleet was incredibly underpriced on Monday. Now he's where he should be priced, which I still think is a tad bit too low. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm liking in that mid-range. Kemba Walker is someone I do like today. I don't think he's going to be popular at all. I think Kemba's going to be pretty low owned. He just hasn't done anything since, he came back from his injury. In the bubble, in those seeding games, he didn't do anything. Even towards the end of March, before the league got shut down, I mean, Kemba was really struggling. His price tag, it's not that cheap either. He's still $6,800. But we do know that Gordon Hayward is going to be out for the Celtics, and that is a little bit of a boost for Kemba Walker. We'll take a look at the numbers real quick, just so you guys can see. When you take Gordon Hayward off the floor, I mean, where the production is going to come from. Tatum, Brown, and Kemba are going to be like the three main guys that do all the producing here. Tatum, he's got a 31.6% usage rate with Gordon Hayward off the floor, averaging 1.23 fantasy points per minute. Kemba Walker has a 28.3% usage rate, averaging 1.21 fantasy points per minute. I know he's been so bad recently, but I like him a lot here at 6,800. He got back to playing 35 minutes. That's what we're going to get from him today, probably 36, 37 minutes if I had to guess. I know he, didn't put up the best game, just 29 Draftkings points, last outing. But now that Gordon Hayward's out, that's a boost for Kemba Walker. That gets one of their more productive players. You're just taking him off the floor, which is going to allow a guy like Kemba to produce. And on these 4-game slates, I mean, finding low-owned guys that have big-time upside. I mean, Kemba, he still has 45, 50-point upside. I know he hasn't shown it, but this is still a guy that can go out there and just get bucket after bucket, can still, lead this team. So I like him a lot at 6,800. I don't think he's going to be too popular today. Definitely like him at that DK price. And then over on Yahoo, I think Kemba looks very appealing over there. He's coming in at $22, really, really cheap price tag. He was, I believe, $25. Yeah, he was $25 on the last slate. His price came down to $22. I really like Kemba on Yahoo as well. I might be on an island here, but I think Kemba going to have a good game. We're going to see him finally. I'll just go ahead. I don't know if this is a hot take, but I'll say Kemba scores over 40 Draftkings points today. I don't even think that's really a hot take because he's 6,800. You kind of need 40 plus, but I'll say he scores over 40 today. He's going to be a good play for his price, in my opinion, and I don't think the ownership's going to be high at all, just because he hasn't been good. He hasn't been good in like 2 weeks, pretty much. But he's back to playing, 36, 38 minutes, and that's all we can ask for. Especially, now that Gordon Hayward's out, he should get a little bit more usage, should be productive. But then some other guys, with Gordon Hayward out, I expect Marcus Smart to start. But Marcus Smart usually not a guy that I play much, especially when Kemba, when Tatum, when all these guys are playing. Smart's just not a high usage player. Jordan Clarkson, I do have some interest in. I played him pretty heavily last slate. He was one of the highest owned players on the slate. Only had 27 Draftkings points, was somewhat disappointing. He was only 3,800 on that slate. Still played 39 minutes though. Even at the end of regulation, he had played like 33 minutes, and he came off the bench as well and still played like 33 minutes. I don't know if he comes off the bench again or if they decide to start him. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But you can definitely go to Jordan Clarkson. He's not nearly as good of a play as he was on the last slate now that his price is up to 4,700. But still do have some interest in him today at point guard if you want to go there. Alec Burks as well saw a pretty good run off the bench, 28 minutes, 28 DraftKings points. I would expect him to put up similar numbers today. Should get about 28 to 30 minutes off the bench. They've been, giving him very good run. They've been playing him over Shake Milton a lot. Even though Shake Milton's the starter, he just not producing the way you want him to. Just 17 DK points last game, only played 26 minutes. He's getting outplayed by Alec Burks right now. So if I'm going to go to one of the Philly guards between Burks or Milton, I think it is going to be Burks for me. Lou Will did have a good game, last game. He's still somewhat affordable today. He was $6K on the last slate. Price came down to $5,300. I think with the price coming down, that makes him pretty appealing. Got back to playing 30-plus minutes. Got 31 minutes off the bench. We know Lou Will's a scorer. This is a guy that can go out there and put up 40, 45 DK points. He's someone you could target in that 5K range as well. Between him or Smart, I would rather play Williams for sure. Between him or Clarkson, that's kind of close for me. I think I maybe would give the slight edge to Lou Will. But I like both those guys. Williams, Clarkson, Burks, I think those are the three guys I would go to. If I'm going to someone under 6K, those are the three guys I like. I don't think there's really any cheap plays I want to go to here. Patrick Beverley, he started, but, got into foul trouble, didn't do much. He still put up 20 DraftKings points, only played 20 minutes, though, because of the foul trouble. I guess he's fine as a punt play, especially if he starts again, which I assume he will. There was no minutes limit for him. The only reason he played 20 minutes was because he picked up, quick fouls. At 3,500, I guess he's not the worst punt value, especially if you want to try and jam in Luka on this slate. And then you're probably going to need someone like Patrick Beverley, so you could go there. But let's go ahead and talk about shooting guard now. We'll look at this position. So Karis LeVert is someone I like a lot. Again, I was very high on him Monday. I think I'm going to be going right back to him on this slate. The price didn't go up enough in my opinion. He's only 8,200 on DK. Looking at Yahoo, they only moved him up to $36. I still think he's a little bit too cheap over there. So Karis LeVert, he kind of had a bad game. The Nets in general really got off to a slow start. They were getting the crap beat out of him in the first quarter. They turned it on in the second quarter, and in the second half, LeVert was able to finish with 47 DK points in 35 minutes. Did get pulled with about 4 minutes left in the game because of blowout. So if the game was going to be close, he was on pace to play about 40 minutes. I think that's what we get from LeVert today if it's a close game. That's a big if, but if it does stay close, expect probably 38 to 40 minutes from LeVert. He's going to be incredibly productive. His usage rate's over 30% with Kyrie and Dinwiddie off the floor. We saw him put up a double-double with points and assists. He was 3 rebounds shy of a triple-double. Karis LeVert legit has triple-double upside right now. At 8,200, I think he's probably one of my favorite guards to pay up for. Given the savings, I would much rather play him over Donovan Mitchell, especially if Mitchell's going to get a lot of ownership because he's coming off a big game. I would much rather play LeVert, who's, he's got that 60, 70-point upside. We haven't seen it yet, but I wouldn't be surprised. One of these games, Brooklyn's going to hang in there. It's going to be close down to the wire, and that's going to be because Karis LeVert's just going off. So I like paying up for him at shooting guard. I do prefer him over Mitchell given the savings. Jaylen Brown, I don't mind him either. He's coming off a big game for Boston. Him and Tatum both had big games on Monday. Brown played 39 minutes, had 50 DraftKings points. He does get a boost here with Gordon Hayward off the floor. Averages 1.05 fantasy points per minute on the season with Hayward off. Has a 24.8% usage rate. I don't mind him either at 7,500. I think he's a guy you could definitely look to, but if I can find the salary, I think I would try and get up to Karis LeVert if possible. Like I said earlier, you got Brown coming in at $27 on Yahoo. Again, if I can find the $3, I think I would rather play Van Vliet, but, I have no problems with Jaylen Brown. And then you do have, Jordan Clarkson you could play on Yahoo. He's $17. But looking at this mid-range, Joe Ingles is someone I do like quite a bit, 5,600 on DK. I don't think this is really point chasing here. Ingles did have a good game on Monday, 37 DraftKings points in 43 minutes. But I don't think that's really a surprise. Without Mike Conley, he does get a lot more usage, a lot more opportunity. He's going to be the primary point guard whenever, Mike Conley is off, or whenever Donovan Mitchell's off the floor. The way they run their rotation, I believe Ingles comes off in or he plays 6 minutes to start the game, and then he'll come off the bench, get a rest, and then Donovan Mitchell, he'll play almost the entire first quarter, close to it, and then whenever Mitchell subs out, Ingles will go back in. So Ingles is going to be on the floor a decent amount without Donovan Mitchell, and that's when I expect him to be most productive. Last game, though, he was really good, contributing to all categories, 19 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. This is a guy that can go out there and get you, 15 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. He can easily do that again. Played 43 minutes, even at the end of regulation. I believe he had played 37 minutes or 38 minutes. So he's going to play probably 36 to 38 minutes if this is a close game. The price tag barely went up. He's only 5,600 on DK after being 5,300 last slate. I expect Joe Ingles to have a very productive game. He's a guy that can produce, especially when he gets opportunity. And without Conley, I believe he does average close to a fantasy point per minute without Conley on the floor. I definitely like Ingles here at 5,600. I don't think we're point chasing here. I think it's very likely we see Ingles put up 35, maybe 40 DraftKings points again. He's definitely got that upside. I like him a lot on Yahoo as well. Over here, he is very cheap. He's cheaper than OG Anunoby. $18 for Joe Ingles. I think he does look like one of the better small forward plays, especially if you can't find the salary to pay up for guys like Kawhi or Tatum. But then other guys in this 5K range. So I do like Joe Harris quite a bit. So Joe Harris was someone that I wasn't too high on last slate. I probably should have been on him because he's just going to get a ton of opportunity right now. He's going to play huge minutes. He was on pace to play about 36 minutes if it was a close game. He's been very productive. He was productive last game. And then during the seeding games, he was really productive as well. Just without Kyrie, without Dinwiddie, I'm going to pull up the numbers real quick so you guys can see. We can take Kyrie and Dinwiddie both off. We can also take DeAndre Jordan and Taurean Prince off the floor because we know those guys are out as well. And see what the numbers look like when you have all four of these guys off the floor. Should get a decent sample size because, they've been playing a good amount without them during the seeding games. So Joe Harris has played about 200 minutes with all those four guys off the floor. Has averaged over a fantasy point per minute. Has a very solid 21.5% usage rate. Going to play 34 to 36 minutes if it's a close game. Only 5K. We know Joe Harris. This is normally not a guy that I play, but he's just going to get so much more opportunity than he normally would. Going to get more shot attempts. This is a guy that when he's making his shots, they will just keep getting him the ball, letting him shoot. He's an excellent three-point shooter. I definitely like Joe Harris at 5K. I think he looks very appealing. Between him and Clarkson, I think it's very close. I think I do give the edge to Harris, just because Harris is probably going to play a few more minutes than Clarkson. Both guys look pretty appealing, but like I said, I think I do prefer Joe Harris. I like Harris on Yahoo as well. If you look at shooting guard, you do have him actually cheaper than Jordan Clarkson over here. Clarkson's 17, whereas Harris is 15, so definitely give me some Joe Harris on Yahoo as well. But that's probably what I'm liking for shooting guard. I think I talked about everybody else. You have guys here that I've already talked about. I guess Garrett Temple could be fine. He's going to play big minutes, but between him or Harris, I would much rather go to Harris, and there's only a $400 difference. Matisse Thybulle, I guess, is someone we need to talk about. He did play over 30 minutes in Game 1. I wouldn't be surprised to see him start this game, and maybe they move Al Horford to the bench. I think we're going to get 30-plus minutes from Thybulle, whether he starts or comes off the bench. He's someone they can use to defend Jason Tatum. Thybulle is a really good defender. He's not a great fantasy player in terms of giving you stats for fantasy. Only 18 DraftKings points in 33 minutes. But if he's going to play over 30 minutes and he's only 3,400, he's definitely viable on a short 4-game slate, at least, just in my opinion. But let's go ahead and talk about small forward now. So looking at the top here, you got Kawhi for 10K. I don't think I'm going to be really jamming in Kawhi. I said it on the last slate. Kawhi wasn't going to be someone I tried to pay up for. Today's probably going to be the same. I know he had a big game last game, 59 DraftKings points in 38 minutes. But still, even if he puts up 59, that's not a score you have to have. Even if he gets you 55 to 60, that's good. But is that breaking the slate? No, that's not breaking the slate. Like I said earlier, Donovan Mitchell going for 81, that just completely breaks the slate. If you want to win a tournament, you pretty much have to have Donovan Mitchell. Kawhi just is a guy that I never feel like I have to have, especially when PG is healthy. Probably won't be paying up for him. If I can find the salary, I guess I'd rather go to Luka. Jason Tatum, though, I do like. He's at 9K. He is $1,000 less than Kawhi. He does get a boost here without Gordon Hayward. Should be starting at power forward, which should help his rebounding numbers. He's already a really good rebounder, can already get you, double-digit rebounds. But in Game 1, he had a very good game, played huge minutes, 41 minutes, 57 DraftKings points, 32 points, 13 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 blocks. Just a very solid game overall for Tatum. And like I said earlier, I don't have the numbers pulled up, but I'll pull them up real quickly again just so you guys can see. Whenever you take Gordon Hayward off the floor, Tatum is one of the beneficiaries. Does see a little bit of a bump in his usage. Should see a bump in his fantasy production overall. Usage rate goes up to 31.6%, averaging 1.23 fantasy points per minute. I definitely like Tatum. Between him or Luka, honestly, I think given the savings, I'd probably rather go to Tatum. I definitely prefer Tatum over Paul George today. So I guess if I'm going to pay up at small forward, Tatum's my favorite guy, 7K and above. Tobias Harris is 7,700. Don't really feel like I need to go there on this slate. Maybe a bit overpriced. He didn't have that great of a game. Last game, 39 minutes, only 38 DraftKings points. He was close to a triple-double. Needed 2 rebounds and 2 assists for a triple-double. I just don't feel like he's someone I have to have today. You got like MPJ at 7K, who I liked a lot last slate. Kind of disappointed. Only played 31 minutes, just 27 DraftKings points. They took him out of the game late in the game because, they were using him, or the Jazz were, getting pick and rolls, making sure that they could get Mitchell on Porter. Porter does really struggle defensively, and if he's, struggling defensively, if they're getting him putting pick and rolls against Donovan Mitchell and he's not stopping Donovan Mitchell, Mike Malone's just going to pull MPJ out of the game, so it makes him pretty risky. I doubt I go there with his price tag being expensive at 7K. There's always upside for MPJ. I just don't think he's going to be like a core play for me today. Then other guys you have, Marcus Morris is coming off a huge game, but the price tag came up to 4,800. I doubt I chase that. I think I'd rather look elsewhere on this slate. I'd rather play Joe Harris for, $200 more. Don't really see myself going to Marcus Morris. TLC is also coming off a big game. He's 4,700. Didn't start, but still played 33 minutes off the bench. I think he probably is going to play about 30 minutes off the bench again. He's 4,700, which is somewhat expensive. TLC, he's shown he can be productive, though. I'm pretty sure he averages close to a fantasy point per minute, with all of Kyrie, Dinwiddie, Prince, all those guys off the floor. So I guess TLC's fine. I'm pretty sure, he's really cheap over on Yahoo. You got TLC coming in at $12. So if you want to play him over there, I have no problems with that. 4,700 on DK, I think he is in play there as well. But if I can find the salary, I do prefer Joe Harris for just a couple hundred more. OG Anunoby, another guy that I think is in play for value. He was really cheap last slate, 3,500. He produced pretty well for his salary. 26 DraftKings points was pretty good for his price. Played 34 minutes. Probably going to play 34 to 36 minutes again. Not a productive player for fantasy, but he's still really cheap. The minutes should be there. I don't mind him as a small forward value. Same with Royce O'Neal. I think Royce O'Neal is going to be pretty popular today. He was very popular last slate, burned a lot of people, played 32 minutes, did deal with some foul trouble, so he lost about 4 or 5 minutes because of that. He was on pace to play pretty big minutes. The price tag barely went up. He's still only 3,700. I definitely think Royce O'Neal is a guy we can go back to today. Even if he's going to be popular again, he just ran really bad last game with foul trouble, losing minutes because of that. You never know what you're going to get from Royce O'Neal, but the minutes should be there as long as he's not in foul trouble. And that's really all you can ask for when you're 3,700. So as a DraftKings value, I think he's viable as well. But yeah, guys, I think we covered everything for this position. So let's go ahead and move on to power forward now. So, I like Tatum at the top here. Siakam, I think, is fine for 7,500. Given the savings, I think I would slightly prefer him over Tobias Harris, but still don't feel like those are going to be guys I jam in today. Al Horford, I liked a lot on Yahoo last slate. He was really disappointing. No way I go to him on DraftKings at 6,700. He's still pretty cheap, though, on Yahoo. He's still $20 over there. So if you want to play Al Horford on Yahoo again, I don't mind that. There's a chance, though, he does go to the bench here. I wouldn't be surprised if they start Matisse Thybulle and move Horford to the bench, which I guess would hurt Horford's value a little bit. He probably plays a few less minutes. But TLC, I mentioned you could go to. OG, you can play here. Royce O'Neal, you can play here. That's probably it for me at power forward. This is kind of a position, just a lot of guys I've already talked about. Juwan Morgan started last game, but didn't do much. Only played 25 minutes, 15 DraftKings points. I doubt I go there, even if he starts again. Just not necessary. Not a guy you expect much production from, and not a guy that, is going to play many minutes. So yeah, let's go ahead and talk about center real quick, just before we end the video. So at the top of the center position, you do have some viable options here. You got Embiid, Jokic, Porzingis, Gobert, even Jared Allen I'll include there. Looking at these 5 guys, I think it's close between Embiid or Jokic on who's my favorite guy to pay up for. Jokic is coming off a pretty solid game in overtime, played 42 minutes, had 53 DraftKings points in Game 1. Embiid also was solid, 37 minutes, 53 DraftKings points. We saw on Monday slate, Embiid was way more expensive than Jokic. Embiid was $10,200. Jokic was $8,700. Today, they're pretty much identical. Just a $200 difference. I still think I'd rather go to Jokic. I think Jokic has that slate-breaking upside. Both guys could go out there and drop 80, and I wouldn't be surprised. I think I do give the side edge to Jokic. I have no problems with either guy. I think I do prefer them over Porzingis. Porzingis also has upside, but if I can find the salary, I would rather pay up for Embiid or Jokic over Porzingis. Jared Allen was someone that I played heavy last slate. He was terrible in the first half, but, kind of turned it on in the second half, was able to at least salvage his game, or salvage the day, finished with 35 DraftKings points, 15 points, 12 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 block, 1 steal. I think he did get into some foul trouble. I think he did lose a few minutes because of foul trouble. But without the blowout, he was on pace to play about 38 minutes. If this game stays close, I think we get about 38 minutes from Jared Allen. I still think there's big-time upside for him. I don't know if he's going to be a core play for me like he was last slate, but he's still going to be a guy I want to get overweight on in tournaments because I think there's upside for him. He can go out there and put up 45, 50 DK points easily. Just getting so much opportunity with no DeAndre Jordan. They're just going to run Jared Allen into the ground. So I do like him at 7,100. I think given the savings, I'd rather go to him over Rudy Gobert. If we look at Yahoo's pricing, I think Allen also looks pretty good over on Yahoo. He's at $29. Gobert's $33. Given the savings, I think I'd rather go to Jared Allen. On Yahoo, though, you do have a $5 difference between Embiid and Jokic. So I think given those savings, I'd rather go to Jokic. It's so close between them on DK, though. It's really a coin flip. I guess I'll just side with Jokic, but, both guys are going to project very similarly. Both guys are about the same price on DK, so whatever. If you have like 3 Denver guys in your lineup, then maybe you don't play Jokic. If you have like 3 Philly guys, then maybe don't play Embiid. Just up to you. I guess I'd give the slight edge to Jokic, but I think both guys are in play for sure. But then if we're talking about value at center, so Daniel Tice, I don't think he did much last game. Yeah, just 25 minutes, 21 DK points. I don't think we really need to go there. I know Serge Ibaka played really well off the bench. Only got 26 minutes, but was really productive with 37 DraftKings points. I doubt I chase that game. I'll probably just stay away from him, especially because his price came up to 5,700. Montrezl Harrell had his minutes limited last game. I wasn't expecting him to play, but he did wind up playing. Only played 15 minutes off the bench, just 8 DraftKings points. He was terrible. He's 4,600 today. I don't know what his minutes are going to look like, if he's going to play 20, 25, if he's going to play 15 again. We'll just have to wait and see here. If we do get word that Harrell can play like 25 minutes, then at 4,600, he's definitely viable because he's a guy that can go out there and give you a fantasy point per minute. Rarely do we get him this cheap. During the regular season, he was priced around the 6K range pretty much all during the regular season. We're getting him at 4,600 today. There's still upside for Harrell at this price. So I have interest in him today if he's not limited. Zubac, played his normal 22, 24 minutes last game, had 29 DraftKings points. He's 4,500. I don't know how many minutes he gets today, especially now that Harrell's coming back. But even if you get 22 minutes from Zubac, he can give you 30 DraftKings points in 22 minutes. He is a very productive player on a point-per-minute basis. So he's also fine. I think I would rather go to Harrell, though, especially if we get word that Harrell, maybe is going to have his limits or his minutes not limited, or maybe even, at least can play like 25 minutes. Harrell just has more upside than Zubac because Harrell, they'll run Harrell out there for 30 minutes if he's playing well. Zubac rarely is going to get more than 25 minutes. Like Marc Gasol, I don't think I want to go to Marc Gasol. He only played 21 minutes last game, just 19 DraftKings points. They're just not giving him the run. They're giving a lot of run to Ibaka off the bench. Him and Ibaka are pretty much playing like between the 48 center minutes. About 26, 27 of them are going to go to Ibaka, and then the other 20 to 21 are going to go to Marc Gasol. So yeah, I think that's probably it for center. I think we covered everything here. I think we broke it all down for Wednesday's slate. Hope you guys did enjoy this video. I really do appreciate you watching. If you did enjoy, just make sure you hit that like button before you get out of here. Hit the subscribe button as well. Click that notification bell so that way you do get notified every time I upload. And if you have not yet, you can follow me on Twitter, which is linked down below in the description. You can also check out my Patreon exclusive content, which is linked down in the description. If you really enjoy these videos and you want to get more from me, I do have stuff available on Patreon, linked down below if you want to check that out. But yeah, guys, best of luck tonight. I hope you enjoyed the video. Appreciate you watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.